whisperer, book whisperer, and in this channel we talk about books all the time. Welcome back. I have to say that to myself as well, because I have been traveling for a month and I haven't filmed for as long. So I have to compose myself, and hopefully this comes out good, because I don't remember how to do this anymore. Okay, 1, 2, 3, let's start. So today we are talking about the books I read in September, which are not very many, because as I said, I've been traveling basically for the whole month. I've spent time with my family as well, so I haven't read as much. I'm a bit disappointed because I thought I would be able to read much more, but since the traveling included other people, it was not just me and my boyfriend, it was also a bit of his family. So my introverted brain could not take it, and I was exhausted all the time. So I haven't read as much. I'm going to do a rambling video about my travels and life updates at the end of the year, kind of looking back. But if you're curious, before we jump into that video, I've been traveling basically since the end of August-ish. I went back to Italy, to my family's place, and then I came back to Paris, and my brother followed me. Basically, he came here for 10 days, something like that, and then I traveled to Bali, Indonesia. So my summer was very, very long this year. I started traveling to summer destinations around April. It was April, and then all the way to October. So my summer has been very long. I'm happy, but I have to say I'm happy to be back home for fall, because autumn in Paris is just, it's a vibe, you know what I mean? So I'm happy to be home, and I'm happy to start filming again. I've missed tapping on books. I've missed it. I'm usually one that if I pick up something, I'm gonna feel what it sounds like, but the people I was traveling with are very sensitive to that kind of thing, so I haven't just stopped and listened to the sounds of things for a while. I have a ton of videos to catch up on too, but anyways, enough rambling. I've been rambling for 5 minutes. Let's get into the video. So, just to kind of recap everything, I don't remember how many books I put on my TBR for the month of September. I think it was 5 or 6, and I was anticipating reading 4 to 5 books this month, and I know myself so well, you guys, because I read 4 books this month. Okay, I started a 5th one, but it's a long one, you will see. So I'm just at the beginning of it, but I read 4 books. 4 books. Out of those books that were on my TBR for the month of September, I only read these ones. I think I read 2, if I'm not mistaken, and it's the only finally. So basically, let's go just in order of, the books I've read, because it's easier for my brain, right? So the first book I read that is Wild and Wrangled. Wild and Wrangled by Lyla Sage. What my hair is doing. Okay, the struggle of having curly hair. So this was the first book I read in the month of September. It was, I feel like, a spillover from my August TBR. Could that be? I think it was, and I'm very proud of myself for reading this finally, because that means that I'm done with the whole Rebel Blue Ranch series. Here it is, the whole Rebel Blue Ranch series. I'm done with it. It was only 4 books. They were quick reads. These books are like less than 400 pages. Some are less than 300 even. Very quick reads. And I've loved every single one of them. Dare I say I'm preferring this to the Chestnut Spring series. Look at me being controversial from the start. Yeah, I feel like these books are the perfect combination of romance, like deeper kind of conversations, and like lightness. You know what I mean? Like, it's a cowboy romance, so it's the perfect balance between those harder conversations you have to have when you're looking to be with someone and have a relationship, and those lightweight moments that should be in a cowboy romance. Also, these are low spice, which I really like, and short, which I love, because it's like, just you pick this up for a quick read to escape reality, to kind of be transported in this ranch and this lifestyle. And honestly, I wouldn't want these books to be 400, 500, 600 pages long. You know what I mean? The tropes in these were just chef's kiss. I loved every single one of them. I have to say that, controversially done and dusted, the first book is one of my favorite ones from this series. Just like I hate to love, enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers dynamic. I also love the kind of forbidden love dynamic in this, because it's brother's best friend, and we all know cowboy romances, the men tend to be pretty possessive, but in a good way, you know what I mean? So I loved that one. I also loved Wild and Wrangled. That would be my second favorite one, followed by Lost in Lasso. But honestly, I loved every single character in these. my favorite character probably has to be Amos Ryder, the dad. Like, he has so much wisdom to impart to us all, and I loved how tender he was with his children. Yeah, I just love these characters. I love Gus as well. He's like, no bullshit. And Emmy. Yeah, I love them all. Okay, I love them all. But let's get back to talking about Wild and Wrangled. By the way, I'm sorry if you hear the kids playing. As you know, the school has started again. So also the light, whatever, it's fall, it's autumn. Let's just go with it. But Wild and Wrangled, yeah, there isn't anything I didn't like about this book. This is a second chance small town cowboy romance where we follow Camille and Dusty. And Camille, well, I don't know how you pronounce her name. I'm saying it the French way, but whatever. Camille is Gus, one of the brothers of the family who owns the ranch. She's Gus's kid, baby mama. They are co-parenting. And by the way, I love this child. Like, I'm not like a huge single dad fan, okay? But I've loved getting to see all these characters interact with Riley. Is that her name? I believe her name is Riley, but she's a 6-year-old girl. And I loved her. But anyway, this is a second chance romance. So it's written in dual POV and dual timeline. So I specifically appreciated both of those things. I feel like if it was not dual POV and if it was not dual timeline, it wouldn't have given me everything it needed me to give. You know what I mean? And all these books, the whole series is written in dual POV, which is like specifically for this one and Lost and Lassoed, I needed the dual POV. So I'm happy that the author kept that. Also the dual timeline was very important because since it's a second chance romance, I needed to see what happened in the past to like bring them to break up and kind of not talk to each other for 15 years. And how she had a child with another man. If like the timeline, I had to see the timeline, you know what I mean? So the past chapters are not a huge lot, but it's the right amount, the perfect amount to let me know what the heck was happening, what was going on, to let me see them in a different light as well, because if I had never seen them, if I had never seen how they were in the past, I wouldn't have believed in their love in the present. So that was very important. I love Lyla Sage writing. I cannot wait to read her new release, Soul Searching. I talked about it in my anticipated new releases video. And yeah, I was actually surprised to see that the town Soul Searching takes place in is actually mentioned a couple of times in this. It's like a town where Camille's family or extended family lives in. So yeah, I love when that happens, and I'm excited to see if we will see some cameos of these characters in the new series Lyla Sage is starting. So yeah, but what else can I say about this book? I don't really know, because there isn't anything I would have changed or anything that icked me. The third act conflict that was going on, which I feel like in none of these books it's a full-on breakup. So there was a third act conflict, which I really appreciate. And if a romance book doesn't have some sort of third act, something going on, it just doesn't. I can't fully be on board with a couple, but I just like when it's a conflict that gets resolved quickly and I see them in action, like I see them handling an argument or whatever it may be, you know what I mean, and moving on, and then I can fully be on board. The third act breakup in this one I really liked. I felt like it made sense with the character. I didn't feel like it was blown out of proportion. It was handled with quite well and resolved in a timely manner, which thank you very much. And the epilogue was nice, and also at the end of the book there was like a chapter. I don't know if you can see that, but there was a chapter about Emmy's and Luke's wedding, which they are the characters in the first book. And we know in the first book that they are going to get married, but it was really lovely to just see this and see like all of them together and all the brothers and the dad, like the whole family coming together in this scene. I really, really liked what she did with that. So yeah, I honestly don't know what else to say about this book. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole series. This was a 4-star. It's a strong 4-star. So that was the first book, Wild and Wrangled, with which I finished the series. Hallelujah. We all know as book girlies that that is a big achievement. So I'm going to celebrate it. Okay. Next, actually I picked up a book that was on my TBR for the month. It's not like I had high expectations. It's just that I feel like a lot of people love this kind of literature, and I'm finding out it's not really for me. And I'm kind of sad about it because the books themselves, they are so cute from this kind of branch of literature. They are so cute and wholesome, but it doesn't click with me, you know. So I'm going to hold on to this book because of the memory of where I read it, which was on my flight to Bali and during my time there, and also because it's a stunning book. I find it stunning, and it reminds me of summer visually, so I will hold on to it. But this was a huge flop, you guys, a huge flop. And I'm talking about cozy literature in particular. I cannot deal with it. I don't know what it is. It is very cozy, but just like, I feel like it's very surface level. It's very like, I don't know. I just don't vibe with it. This book is sort of like, it reads like a collection of short stories, right? Where each chapter basically is very, very long, like 30 plus pages, and it concentrates on one specific character and their story, their struggles, and how they overcome them, right? They all have the setting in common because they all have something to do with the convenience store. In this book, either they are clients, or they work there, or they're just passing by and something about this convenience store calls their name and they stop there, and it kind of changes their lives in some way. So each story is connected by this like thread of the convenience store, and the characters work there, and the clients who are usual clients and who always go there, that appear in different stories throughout the book, but each story concentrates on a different character, so it reads like a short story collection, and it is very wholesome, it is very cozy, but I've struggled. I've read this throughout my travels, as I said, but it took me like more than 2 weeks to complete, which is kind of crazy to my reading standards. Not saying it's crazy as an average at all. Like, you should take your time to read, and however long it takes, you know what I mean? Like, who cares? But for my reading standards, in particular, this took long. And it took long because I just was not vibing with it. That kind of makes me sad. Because honestly, I would have DNF'd it if I was at home. But since I was traveling and I didn't even have my Kindle, I only had 2 books. In my suitcase. So I kind of forced myself to read it, and I kind of wish I hadn't, because I could have squeezed in another book that I was more interested in September, you know. But yeah, I don't really have much to say. I really did not like it. I found that the writing was not bad per se, but it was very superficial, very surface level, not superficial, but surface level. I gave this book 1.5 stars, and now that I think about it, I don't even know where the 0.5 came from. There was only one thing I appreciated about this book, and it was how it talked about love, like a relationship, how it's work, and how you need to be your own person outside of your partner, and how each person in a relationship should have their own hobbies and passions. And I loved how everyone worked on their hobbies and their passions, whether it was to make a living out of it or not, because that's also not like necessary, even if I feel like in this day and age we tend to believe that if you have a passion you have to make it your work and your job, but that's not true. You are allowed to just have hobbies for the sake of having hobbies. Not everything needs to be productive and leading you somewhere. Like, you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy your hobby from time to time, you know what I mean? are just on Earth to enjoy the time we get. So yeah, that's the only thing I appreciated about this book. Everything else, honestly, yeah, didn't click with me. Should have been a DNF. So I'm giving it 1 star. I'm probably going to change that rating. But I did read it in Bali, so I'm going to hold on to it just for the memory of it. And yeah. Yes, that was the convenience store by the sea. So next book was another romance. You would see that in September I mainly read only romance books because, you know, while traveling I needed something light, something I can digest easily. So romance and rom-coms were the perfect go-to. The next book was also my TBR, and I'm so happy I finally started this series. It's Laurie Gilmore's The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. So this is technically the second book in the Dream Harbor series. The first book being The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which was the first book that went viral for, you know, fall reading. But I wanted to read this one first because from the cover, the moment I saw it, I thought this was gonna be set like in early September, end of summer. Then I saw that everyone else thought this was a fall book, so I was like, let me just wait and see what people see once they read it. And everyone started to say that, yeah, they thought it was set in fall, but it's a very summery book. So I'm happy about my thought process, and I'm happy I read it now. Going into it, my hope was that I would see in the book a bunch of activities that I was doing in real life, which turned out to be true. But I didn't actually read this until my plane ride back to France. So I read this in one sitting on the plane. I think that was perfect because this kind of book, you can completely read it. You can totally read it in one go. It's light and fluffy rom-com, and I feel like that was perfect timing. It was also great for me to help me mentally say goodbye to summer and hello to fall. But yeah, this book follows Hazel, who is the manager at the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, where every Sunday there will be a table of freshly baked warm cinnamon buns, which I love as a concept. And basically Hazel starts to find some books that have been highlighted. So going around her shelves from time to time, she will see a book that is kind of like not put correctly, and when she picks it up, she sees an ear-docked page, and in each ear-docked page there will be a highlighted quote, and the whole thing turns into kind of a scavenger hunt, because the whole thing is that Hazel is feeling stuck in her day-to-day life, and she is about to turn 30, and she wants to make the most out of the last months of her 20s. So she decides and say goodbye to her 20s. And it just so happens that Noah volunteers to help her. And Noah has had the hots for Hazel for a while, but she didn't realize, and she struggles believing it. But yeah, you see their relationship from, just kind of acquaintances to becoming friends to deepening that relationship. And at first, there's sort of a casual sex, no strings attached sort of situation, but that escalates quickly. So yeah, but I feel like I really liked how everything was handled in the romance department, because I was really able to see the shift from acquaintances to friends to lovers, so I was happy about that. This is also dual POV, so you get both kind of, like, it's not, wait a minute, I'm just realizing, it's not written in dual POV, it's written in third person perspective, but the way it's written, which is something I really liked about this book as well, now that I think about it, is that it feels like a dual POV, because like with each chapter you clearly understand whose eyes you're looking at the situation from. You know what I mean? So it feels like it's a dual POV, but it's not. Like, it's not written in dual POV, as in you will have, chapter 1 Hazel, and it's like a first person narration. Chapter 2 Noah. No, it's not. It's third person perspective. But it felt like it will be. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I really, really appreciated that about this book, because I was really able to clock in the character I was reading about, and whose feelings were being depicted. So yeah, I really liked it, but it was like a mid-range book, you know what I mean, and nothing life-altering for sure. So I gave this book three stars, and I cannot wait to continue reading these. To be honest, does anyone know how many books there will be in this series? Because if I look at this map, which I love that there is a map to the town. If I look at this map, it feels like there's going to be very, very, very many books, but I have no idea if that is the case. Anyway, I would be curious to have Mac's book, if you've read this, like the pub owner. Yeah, I would be curious to have his book. But anyways, that was the Cinnamon Bun bookstore, and now I feel like, now that I'm back in Paris, I really need to buy Cinnamon Bun and enjoy that. I might do that after filming this video. Yeah. Anyways, that was the third book I read in September. That brings us to the last book I read in the month of September, which I read while I was traveling. So the thing about Bali that you need to know if you've never been there is that traffic on the island is insane. And I'm talking like it takes an hour to drive like 10 kilometers. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane. Especially in specific parts of the island, but in general it takes long to go this is just a random free Audible audiobook I found on the app because I had like 3 credits, I believe, to use, but I was very indecisive about the book to start, so I decided to just go for a free one, one that's included in your membership, that I had saved before when I was in this very rom-com-y mood, and I hadn't listened to it for one reason or another, and now I was in the car, I was paying attention to the scenery more than anything else, so I wanted like something that I wouldn't have to concentrate on very much. So I picked up this audiobook that is called Once Upon a Crime by Brynn. And I felt like I read the synopsis and it felt intriguing, so I started listening to it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend the audiobook. I didn't really like the way it was narrated, but it is a dual POV rom-com set in Hollywood. You basically follow this girl whose name I do not remember, who's librarian, and whose sister goes missing one day. Her sister was a movie producer, so she decides to go to Hollywood and play as an extra in this, actually it's a TV show production, to try and find out what happened to her sister, see what people know, see if she can find any clues about where she could be and what could have happened, because the whole thing is quite weird. So she ends up playing as an extra actor in this TV show, and one day she decides to hide in the set to be left there and not go back to her hotel at the end of the day, so that she can look around, see what she can find, and at the same time the movie star who is playing the main character role in this TV show gets left behind. He gets stranded on set accidentally and they end up meeting, and he ends up helping her, trying to find out what happened to her sister, right? And in the whole process, obviously it's a romance, so they fall in love. This is a no spice romance, but there was a lot of flirting, which I really liked. I liked their dynamics, and I liked both characters actually, with their insecurities and their baggage. Books were like a core part of this book, books and movies, but books specifically. She knows everything about books but nothing about movies, whereas it's the opposite for our main character. So I liked that dynamic they have going on, helping each other, love new things and explore new things. There is like the mystery aspect of what happened to the sister is very prominent in the book, and I found that refreshing because you don't really see it in romances or rom-coms a lot. So yeah, I liked this. This was also a 3-star for me. Yeah, a very mid book. I don't know if I would necessarily tell you to add it to your TBR, but if you want to listen to an audiobook that's quick to get through and you don't need to concentrate hard on it, and you can just put it on the background and it's a fun time, why not? It's free, go for it, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that was the fourth and final book I read in September, so I was right to say that I would read around 4 books. I really wanted to have a 5th one, but I didn't manage, and that's fine. I did start a new book this week, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. By the Schwab. So this book has been very, very highly anticipated for me, and I know that a lot of people love it. I think I'm also going to love it very much, but it's quite slice of life, which I did not expect, so it's taken me a bit longer to get into it. I literally just started it, as you can see. I'm probably like 10% in. So yeah, but so far I'm liking it. I'm waiting for the moment where it clicks, and like, you know, the moment where a book just and picks up and the story just goes and you cannot stop flipping the pages. I'm waiting for that moment. But so far I really like it. I like V. Schwab's writing, so yeah. And I love the concept. I love the concept of this book. So if you don't know what this book talks about, it talks about Addie and Adeline, who is this French girl who back in the 1700s makes a pact with the devil to be able to escape her arranged marriage, basically. And so she asks to, you know, be freed and live on her own terms and be able to live forever. And in exchange, what the devil takes is her, basically the memory of her. So basically whoever she encounters, the moment they kind of stop looking at her, they forget about her. So she's been living in this limbo for like 300 years, and it's told in dual timeline, where you see her life back in France in the 1700s and what led to this, and then you see the present, where she is living in New York City in the 2000s, and you see like kind of how she deals with everything and how she's living. And I haven't gotten to that part of the book yet, but I know that she will find someone who does remember her, and I'm really excited for that part. I'm guessing there's a bit of a romance there. So yeah, I'm excited for that part, and I feel like once I hit that part, then I will not be able to stop reading. But this book is quite long. I didn't realize how long it is. And it's stiff as hell because I bought it in London. But yeah, that is my current read. Cannot wait to go on with my fall reading, because I feel like I've read romance back to back these past months, and now I really crave fantasy. I miss it. So yeah, I cannot wait to get back into it. But yeah, let me know which books you read in September, which was your favorite one, how you're doing with your yearly reading goal as well. I ended up changing my mine it was 50 books, but I've surpassed that in August, I feel like. So I upped it to 70. Let me know how you're doing with your reading goal this year, and yeah, let me know which books you're excited to read in these fall months. I cannot wait to add to my TBR as well and show you the books I've recently bought as well. So there will be a fantasy book haul coming soon. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know, like, I haven't talked about as many books as I did in the past, but you know, life happens. I hope you still enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to click the like button, and if you're not already, subscribe, join our Bookish family, and hopefully I will see you soon in the next one.